So the Great Game in the 19th century saw Britain and Russia struggle for dominance in Central Asia. The Russians hoped to expand their influence, and the British were largely just fearful that the Russians would eventually expand into India. And the British weren't overly paranoid about this belief because there were a couple plans, Russian plans to invade India. The first came at the beginning of the 19th century during the Napoleonic Wars when Tsar Paul switched sides and started helping Napoleon. Now, he worked alongside Napoleon to hatch a plan to invade India. They would march troops through Central Asia and take India that way. Now, this was called the Indian March of Paul, and it's believed that Napoleon was hoping to send painters and engineers along this march in order to create a very romanticized event like his invasion of Egypt, for instance. Now, to sort of summarize their plan briefly, the French troops were going to march into Russia. There they would meet up with Russian troops, and together they would march through Kazakhstan and into India. And in early 1801, a few thousand Cossack troops were sent forward to sort of lay the path for them, and they made it as far south as southern Kazakhstan. But Tsar Paul was assassinated shortly afterwards, and the plan was cancelled after Russia switched sides again. The British did find out about this invasion plan, and they realised just how vulnerable India was. So this in part helped spur on the Great Game in the decades to come. Now, the second invasion plan I could find was during the Russian Civil War, when the Bolsheviks hoped to encourage rebellions not only in India but also across Tibet and places like that as part of the Kalmyk project. And after the rebellion started, they would swiftly move in afterwards. Now, they hoped to use the scientific expeditions of, let me get this name right, Fyodor Setchebatskoy as a way to get arms to rebels not only in India but also, as the name suggests, the Kalmyk project, to Mongols in China as well. But the plan was pretty much shelved after the White Army took control of the Trans-Siberian Railway in 1919-1920. But it should be said that this plan was largely the brainchild of Indian nationalists like Mahendra Pratap. Now, Mahendra Pratap was an Indian nationalist who for a long time looked for foreign help in ridding India of the British, and he was one of the leaders of the Niedermeyer Hentig expeditions during World War I. These expeditions probably deserve their own video, well in fact the whole Hindu-German conspiracy do. But to sum them up briefly, these were diplomatic missions which nearly saw Afghanistan ally with Germany in World War I and help attack the British Raj. But with Germany defeated in World War I, the Indian nationalists thought that their best ally against Britain was the Bolsheviks.